It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central. In today's video, I wanted to answer a question that I've been hit with more than anything else since Corvus and Morrigan went live yesterday, early morning, Friday, or late Thursday night, depending on where you were in the world. More than any other question, more than I got during whenever they were released for mobile, and that is, if I had to choose one, which should I level? And at first glance, it might be a little difficult. I think it's more difficult to make that decision on mobile than it is on Facebook, but let's talk through it. Now, fortunately, I went ahead and summoned both of these, and just to go ahead and get this out of the way, I do not plan to make Corvus and Morrigan part of my main team, or potentially even my main Grand Arena team on Facebook. And the reason for that is because Grand Arena is less important. It is important, but it is less important on Facebook than it is to have 3 teams on mobile. I'm not really concerned with building up 15 heroes more than I'm concerned with learning the ins and outs of the game and having fun and building teams and all of that. So we got Corvus and Morrigan. We have Corvus, who is a tank, frontline fighter. We have Strike of the Damned, deals damage to the front line, decreases defenses. You have Unity of the Damned, which increases undead allies' physical and magic attack. You have Altar of Souls. This will deal retribution damage to any opposing hero that attacks your team. And then you have the Violability Roll of Defense. When an ally's health drops below 20%, Corvus moves them to the center. So looking at these individually, looking at Corvus individually, you have this Strike of the Damned ability, which does damage to the front line, to the entire front line. That is usually the enemy tank and usually the enemy warrior. It's not always the second slot, but it's usually the hero in the second slot. Sometimes even the hero in the third slot. This debuff. The debuff half of this, the armor reduction, the magic defense reduction, and the dodge reduction is increased with the addition of additional undead allies on your team. But it still does the debuff. It's just not as strong. It still does damage. The damage isn't affected by the amount of undead allies. You have Unity of the Damned, which does absolutely nothing to teams that don't have undead allies. Okay, so if you just have Corvus, this is a completely dead ability. Completely dead ability. Okay, and then Altar of Souls. This is kind of Corvus's signature ability now. This is kind of the one that everybody hates. This works just fine without undead allies. And then Royal Defense works just fine without undead allies. Okay, all in all, Corvus is a weaker tank defensively. He doesn't really provide a lot of tankiness to your team. He does provide a good amount of debuff and control, good amount of area of effect damage, countering with Altar of Souls. Strong hero on the right team. Morrigan, however, and again, we're talking about the Facebook version. Morrigan, however, she has summons 3 skeletons to her side. That's her ultimate. She can increase those skeletons' defense and magic defense and healing them. Okay, she can heal those undead skeletons' health. She can heal an undead ally if their health drops below 20%. Can be triggered once every 8 seconds. This can be used on those undead skeletons only. And then you have Necromancy, which will raise a skeleton in place of an enemy when they die. Now, an important note, and probably the biggest, most important thing about Morrigan, if you don't know this yet, Morrigan will block Astaroth's revive ability. His Violet ability, Last Word. Once per battle, Astaroth resurrects a fallen ally or himself. Morrigan counters that. Same deal with Rufus. Rufus has a similar ability. In fact, let's go take a look at it real quick while we're here. Let me see if I can find him real quick without making it too big a deal. Rakashi's Oath. Rufus can now only be killed with physical damage. If the last attack against the hero dealt magic damage or pure damage, they resurrect with a portion of health restored. Morgan's Violet ability will also counter this completely. Okay, it'll make it so that magic damage can counter Rufus. So what do you have? You have basically 2 abilities that summon skeletons. Necromancy makes the skeletons do more bonus damage and also blocks revives. Okay, then you have Bone Armor and Moonlight that only affects their little undead skeletons. So the big question that everyone keeps asking me, just to reiterate it from the top of the video, is if I could only choose one, who should I choose? And in my opinion, in my opinion, what Morrigan brings to the table, these little undead skeletons, buffing the undead skeletons, the little mini skeletons, healing up the little undead skeletons, and blocking the revive, I think that's less important than what Corvus does. And what Corvus does is Corvus will debuff the front line, reduce the armor and magic defense and dodge of the front line. Corvus will counter area of effect teams. And in some cases, Corvus will, protect a squishy hero in the back or a squishy hero in the front, right? One that's about to die. So you can look at this two different ways. In my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, Corvus will fit into more teams. There are more area of effect teams that Corvus will counter than there are Astaroth teams. Or are there? I don't know. There might be more Astaroth teams giving you fits on your server. If there are, Morrigan might be the better choice. What I think ultimately what'll happen is I think Morrigan will be leveled up. And thrown into your team as a counter to a really strong Astaroth or a really strong Rufus team. And these skeletons deal a ton of damage, not enough to, be a complete overpowered hero by themselves, but enough to annoy the enemy team. Add in the ability to, block revives, and I think you have a really strong hero. Both of these heroes have their place. However, in my opinion, Corvus is just going to be slightly better if you can only choose one. Again, my opinion. You should probably level them both up eventually. But if you had to have one, if you had to absolutely have one, I just feel Corvus is better. Corvus is going to counter Kira a lot harder and a lot more necessary than Morrigan counting Astaroth. Astaroth reviving a hero with a little bit less health. Your Celeste can do the same thing. It's less important, in my opinion. It's less important. Let me know in the comment section down below how you guys plan to use Corvus and Morrigan. Also, let me know what you prefer of the two, which of the two heroes you prefer to level up more. This is just my opinion. I'm going to eventually level them both up, as I'm going to be leveling up all heroes on my main Facebook account, but they probably won't be in my main team. A lot harder debate on mobile than on Facebook, because the heroes are just, in my opinion, way stronger on mobile than they are on Facebook. They're just way better on mobile, and it just is what it is. We're going to do a live stream later today. We're going to live stream max testing, so stay tuned for that. Not sure when that's going to be. Probably sometime around when I usually live stream. It'll be fun. We're going to max test some Corvus and Morrigan teams. Haven't had a chance to yet. Looking forward to doing all of that. So join me there if you'd like. If not, no big deal. I love you all. And of course, good luck in Dominion.